The Sudza gas metering station, a vital energy hub near the volatile Russia-Ukraine border, was engulfed in flames. The date was March 20th, 2025. Or perhaps it was March 21st. The chaos of war often blurs the lines of time. The exact location too remains shrouded in uncertainty. Was it Kursk, as some reports suggested, or Belgorod, as others claimed? Amidst this confusion, one thing was clear. An explosion had ripped through the station, igniting a raging inferno that sent shockwaves through the region. The attack came at a time of heightened tensions between Russia and Ukraine. The once routine flow of natural gas through the station had long since ceased, a casualty of the ongoing conflict. Yet Sudza remained a potent symbol, a reminder of the intertwined destinies of the two nations. Its destruction was not merely a logistical blow, but a psychological one, further fueling the flames of mistrust and animosity. The flames raged for hours, casting an eerie glow upon the surrounding countryside. Firefighters battled valiantly to contain the blaze, their efforts hampered by the intense heat and the ever-present threat of further explosions. As dawn broke, the full extent of the damage became horrifyingly clear. The station lay in ruins, a twisted monument to the devastating consequences of war. With the embers still smoldering, a different kind of firestorm erupted. A war of words, accusations, and counter-accusations. Both sides pointed fingers, each claiming the other was responsible for the attack. The truth, as is often the case in such situations, seemed lost in a fog of propaganda and deceit. The Kremlin's response was swift and furious. Russia accused Ukraine of a deliberate act of terrorism, a calculated assault on its energy infrastructure. This is an outrage, a blatant violation of international law, thundered a Kremlin spokesperson, his voice laced with anger. The perpetrators must be brought to justice. Russia claimed that Ukrainian forces, retreating from the Kursk region after a failed offensive, had targeted the Sudza station in a desperate act of sabotage. They produced grainy drone footage, purportedly showing Ukrainian soldiers planting explosives at the base of the facility. The images, however, were inconclusive, open to interpretation and manipulation. A criminal case was immediately opened by Russian authorities who vowed to hunt down those responsible. The attack, they insisted, was not only an attack on Russia, but on the very principles of peace and stability. It was, they declared, a desperate attempt by a failing regime to derail ongoing peace negotiations and drag the region further into chaos. The accusations resonated within Russia, further inflaming public opinion against Ukraine. Calls for retaliation grew louder, with hardliners demanding a swift and decisive military response. The Kremlin, however, seemed content to wage its battle on the information front, using the incident to bolster its narrative of Ukrainian aggression and Western complicity. Ukraine vehemently denied any involvement in the attack, calling Russia's accusations absurd and a cynical attempt to deflect blame. Ukrainian officials pointed to the timing of the incident, coming just days after Russia had reportedly shelled the station itself as evidence of a false flag operation. This is a classic Russian tactic, declared a Ukrainian spokesperson. They create a crisis, then blame it on us to justify their own aggression. Ukraine released its own satellite imagery, claiming it showed Russian military vehicles in the vicinity of the station in the hours leading up to the explosion. Kiev argued that Russia had a clear motive for staging such an attack. By blaming Ukraine, Moscow could further demonize its adversary in the eyes of the international community, undermining support for Kiev and potentially derailing the US-backed moratorium on attacks on energy infrastructure. Ukraine's denials were met with skepticism in Moscow and among its allies. The Kremlin dismissed them as predictable and without merit, continuing to push its narrative of Ukrainian culpability. The international community, meanwhile, was left to grapple with conflicting accounts and a distinct lack of concrete evidence. The attack on the Sudza gas station cast a long shadow over the already fragile peace process. The US-backed moratorium on energy infrastructure attacks, painstakingly negotiated over months of diplomatic wrangling, seemed to hang by a thread. President Trump, who had invested considerable political capital in the moratorium, expressed deep concern over the incident and urged both sides to exercise restraint. However, his calls for calm seemed to fall on deaf ears. The blame game continued, each side digging in its heels, further poisoning the well of diplomacy. The attack served as a stark reminder of the deep-seated mistrust and animosity that continued to plague relations between Russia and Ukraine. It underscored the challenges of finding a peaceful resolution to a conflict fueled by historical grievances, territorial disputes, and a complex web of geopolitical interests. As investigators from both sides sifted through the rubble of the Suja gas station, searching for clues that might shed light on the truth behind the explosion, the world watched with bated breath. The hope for peace, always fragile, seemed to flicker even more faintly in the aftermath of the attack. The question now was whether this latest incident would prove to be a stumbling block on the path to peace or a catalyst for a renewed push for a negotiated settlement.